Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Just joking. Let me show you how to level up your audio quality. I'm Alex, and if you're new here, this is the third part in my series on how to just get started on YouTube. If you missed the first two parts, there's a link down there in the description to the playlist with the rest of them. If you have any thoughts or questions or feedback, I'd love to hear from you. Throw a comment down below. I read all of them. A lot of people take audio for granted. Audio is one of those hidden, super important pieces that if you get it wrong, people know. And if you get it right, they don't notice, but they enjoy that it's right. I've split the video into two parts. Talking about using your iPhone for audio and why it works, but it's not the best. And the second, what you can do to level up your audio and really bring that standard up. I'm sure anyone listening to this video can hear the difference between what it sounded like at the start of the video and what it sounds like now coming out of the iPhone. Some of these phones don't actually have an outward-facing microphone. They just had the microphone designed for phone call. That's definitely not designed for YouTube. This iPhone particularly does actually have a front-facing microphone. I can see it right now. It's up next to the lens up there, which makes it easier to be recording and hearing people. But there are two main problems. One is this microphone isn't designed for YouTube. And two, it's all the way over there. I have to get all the way there. Yeah, there we go, right there. Sound loses quality and volume the further away you get from the microphone. So the closer you get the microphone to your mouth, the better. Nerd fact, sound follows the inverse square law. If you look, there's a fancy graph that will show you every time you go one up, you go by 1 over the square root. No, you go 1 over that number squared in terms of how much loss there is. So very quickly you lose a lot of audio quality and sound over the distance you're at. And this is why you see people who are singing and talking on shows holding a microphone all the way up to their mouth, because it's a really great way to get the sound quality really high. Okay, enough of this old school crap. Let's level up. That's better. So people might be saying, but hang on, what did you do? I can't see a microphone anywhere. I did get the Rode Video Micro, and it's sitting right there, a quarter the distance away from my mouth that the microphone all the way there is. Many people know that you do need a better microphone to sound better. And hopefully if you didn't, you now know because I've talked to you about it on this channel. But which microphone do you pick? I like the Rode Video Micro. That's one type of microphone. There are two main other types. The first type are lavalier mics. They're the type that you clip to your shirt or something similar. They're great because it keeps the microphone really close to your mouth, which, as I said before, means that it sounds really good. And you can get lavalier mics for anywhere from super cheap all the way up to high-level professional gear. If you really don't want to spend a lot or don't have a lot to spend, you can get a really nice, cheap little lavalier mic just like this one. It's a no-name brand, but it'll do the job because it does the first thing that you really need with a microphone. That's get it closer to your mouth. It also means that no matter what sort of video you're doing, if you're doing a talking head, then you're not moving around as much. But as soon as you move further away or closer from the microphone, your audio levels will drop and raise as you do so. A cheap little lavalier mic like this keeps it right here close to your mouth. So it doesn't need to be the best to even make it sound better than the iPhone's microphone. Anything that you can get that brings that microphone closer to your mouth is going to really help. If you want to spend a little more money, you can go for this reasonably priced Boya microphone. It's another lavalier mic, but it seems to be the one that people gravitate towards if they have a little bit more to spend. And Boya is a brand we've seen around a lot. After that, you quickly go into hundreds of dollars. And I think for someone just getting started, there are better places to spend that money. You can get started with one of these microphones and immediately level up your game. Another type of microphone are boom microphones, like this Rode Video Micro I have up here. And they do the same thing to help by being close. But they can be better than lavalier microphones because they can be a lot larger. And the thing about microphones is that they have to obey the laws of physics. A lot of things around microphones and camera sensors is the bigger they are, the more microphone or the more camera you can have in the same space. And a boom microphone doesn't need to try and hide under your collar, so it can be a lot bigger and just off frame. That said, remember, you don't need the best to just get started. You need something to improve the quality, but you don't need to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on the best microphone. You know I've got the Rode Video Micro, and I think that it's a really great microphone for the price that it's at. It's a reasonably priced microphone that has a much better quality sound than what's going to come out of your iPhone at least. It's an amazing microphone that doesn't cost a fortune. But I know for some of you it's still going to be too much money, which is fine. Again, Boya has a slightly cheaper option. It's still good. If you're price conscious, then this should be another good option for you. There's a third sort of microphone, which are the microphones people normally use for podcasting. It's the one you see anytime you're watching someone on the radio or doing a podcast, this big mic that sits in front of them and they talk straight into it. As I said before, bigger means better. Some people might ask, well, if it's so big, then why don't you just move it out of frame again? While those microphones are bigger and they sound very nice, they have a very small area around the microphone where they really work very well. That means that you need to have them in shot, which is one of the reasons I've chosen not to get one so far. I like the freedom of having the space in front of me. And for a lot of people, they don't like the look or the aesthetic of having a big microphone sitting in the shot with them. If you search for streaming or podcast microphones, you'll find 1,000,001 reviews. A really good microphone is going to bring your YouTube game up to the next level. I highly recommend getting the Rode Video Micro, even if you have to save up a little bit for it. But if that's still out of your budget, one of the lavalier mics is going to really improve the sound of your video still. And it reduces the amount of setup I need to do to just get started. The boom mic is up here, and when I'm not using it, I can just swing it out of the way. I don't need to hook up a mic on me or set it up on the desk. And like I've said before, the best way to get consistent on YouTube is to remove as many barriers as you can. As always, there are links in the description to all the gear I talked about and all the gear I've been using. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it to a friend. It really makes a big difference when channels are starting up to get a broader audience, and by you sharing it with just one other person, that makes a huge difference to me. Thank you for watching, I'll see you next time, and as always, be a fan of the journey and subscribe to see what happens. There's a third sort of mic, there's a blah 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 blah. Boy, I hope this microphone's doing what I want it to be doing, otherwise this will be really upsetting. And redo everything I've just done! Yay! I should have thought more about that. Well, I'll be better at it the second time around.